want to welcome all of y'all to the neighborhood meeting for Dalrock Estates, our Phase 2 project. And we hope that we can answer your questions tonight and hope you'll be pleased with the project after we're all finished. Tonight, people that are here, city representatives, Gary Bennett, he's the interim Public Works Director. Myself, I'm City Engineer Tom Harris, and John Masad. He's the city's inspector. He's the one you'll see out there every day, and the one that you'll pound on the head if you have any questions that you need answered. And Lisa Bauer, she's contacted the city as far as information and things. She's been kept up to date. But the first contact will be John, especially if it's something with construction. And then the engineer that designed the projects, Neil Schaefer's, is the company, and Jim Amick and Rick Simpson, sorry, I get them mixed up. Rick Simpson, they're the designers on the project, and I'll be making any changes that are necessary as we go along, which always things happen. And then man contractor George Travazzo, and he's the project manager. And Thomas Garcia, he's the project superintendent. He's the one that'll be out there on a daily basis for the contractor. And the neighborhood coordinator, we don't have one. Typically, a lot of the projects we've done in these subdivisions, we've had citizens that are coordinators for the neighborhood. They send out Facebook information or put stuff, have email chain, that sort of thing. So if you know of anybody, or if you all want to do that, then let us know and get your information down, and we'll put that up. And Elisa will post this presentation. We can have it on there at the time for other people to see. I am. That's next. And now I'd like to recognize the city council members that have shown up. Martha Brown, she's going to say a little something. She belongs in that neighborhood, so y'all probably know her well. And Blake Arliss, Brownie Sherrill, and Pamela Bell. Thank you. The project, basically what we're going to be doing on it is, I'll talk about the existing conditions tonight, the proposed improvements that we're going to do, the typical street sections, project limits, so you'll know where the construction is going to be going on, the construction sequencing, that will have to do with what streets are going to be closed down and access and that sort of thing. The construction issues and inconveniences, there's always going to be that when we take out streets. The temporary property access, you will have some temporary access during portions of the project, but not parking access, and we'll talk about that. There's been some questions about that. The schedule for construction, when things will happen, which you can expect to see out there. Obviously, if we get rain like we've had in some of the past few months, where it's exceptional, then we may not have construction going on because they can't do anything during that time. So it might push some things out, but I'm going to talk about a tentative schedule tonight. And we already talked about the contacts, and then we'll have general questions at the end. The existing conditions, one of the main problems that we've got out there, we've got them in a lot of streets, it's just like your subdivision, but we rate them on an annual basis based on how bad they are, and then we make recommendations. And then once we take it to the city council as a project, they approve it, and we got the funds, and we move forward with them. This just shows a couple of streets these are in your neighborhood, and you can see the condition. One of them is there at Cheshire, and the other one I believe is also, no, the other one is at Highgate. also have poor storm drainage. A lot of places hold water, that sort of thing. So one of the things on this project is we'll be working on the storm sewer, putting in new inlets and that sort of thing. The proposed improvements, I'm trying to look and not have to read the thing. Okay, the proposed improvements that we're going to be doing, we already kind of talked about that, is improve the streets surface, replace them all. We're going to improve the storm drainage by putting in new storm sewer. We're going to place water lines and sewer lines. The sanitary sewer, we're going to reconstruct that, and then replace the pavement in the side streets and the sidewalks. So you'll have new sidewalks. Now there was a question about the sidewalk locations, and we'll talk about that later too. This is a typical street section. This is what your new street will look like. It'll be the same width, but you'll have new 8-inch pavement, which it withstands heavier loads, so they last longer than the thinner streets that were put in originally. This shows the project limits. And I don't know if this is going to hang or not. You can see Kensington. That's all the way from Dalrock to Highgate. And then Cheshire, the same thing. And then Highgate will go for where the improvements stop in phase 1. And then it'll go north up past Kensington. And then Yorkshire will be finished from where it stopped in phase 1, and it'll go on to the north. Construction issues, that's always a thing. Temporary property access, when they tear out the streets and all that, you're going to resod the disturbed yards with simmer grass. They're going to have one-way traffic, so you'll have no street parking for the duration of the project. And I'll talk about when that's going to close. But you will have access on one street. You just cannot park there. Service connections to water, they're going to be, your service connections will get to be new, because the water line's going to be new, and it's going to be in a different location, so all the water service connections and lines will be new to your meter. The meters may have to be relocated along with the boxes, and if that's the case, they will also be moved. Same thing with the sewer main. Once we put in the new sewer line, we'll have to extend some of the old sewer lines, and they're going to be replaced as well. Mail delivery and bulk trash pickup. The trash, John, does FCC said they're going to pick it up out front?
Right now, all the trash
is in the alley. Okay, so the trash pickup won't be a problem for y'all. The mail service, all your mailboxes, we'll talk about that, but they're going to be relocated to one location, because the post office will not come down through that construction area while construction is going on. And then we coordinate with the residents and the proper authorities. So talk about coordination. During construction, there's your mailboxes, and this was on phase 1. They'll be over at the fire station. So all mailboxes during the whole project will be located over at the fire station for all the streets that are being worked on. The traffic control enclosures, this just shows the picture of what it'll look like once they get the street open. It may not be, this is new paving here on half the street, but yours, you'll still have it open like that with work going on one side or the other. After they get the streets torn out and working on, then they come back in, they roll in lime and cement, and to stabilize the subgrade. That way, we try to defeat this clay soil we have around here, and it makes it support the roadway better, so it keeps it from moving and cracking like it's done in the past. Once they get that rolled in and compacted and tested, then at that point the contractor will put in steel, and get all that in, and then they'll start pouring the concrete. So you'll see all this going on out there over a period of time. After construction, this is what you'll have. This is a picture of Highgate and Woodside after they finished phase 1. This is the tentative schedule. And the contractor proposes to he'll get a notice of proceed on Tuesday, 22nd. On the 26th, he will start the tree removal. And during that time, you'll be able to park at night on the street, but no parking on the street during the daytime. And that way, because the contractor needs to be able to have access to take these trees out of the parkway. So just be aware that once that starts, they'll have notices letting you know, but just be aware you cannot park on the street during that time, during the day. You can park there at night. And that will go through the 15th. But the actual paving, once it starts, and you'll get a notice that they're getting ready to start the utilities and all that, at that point, they'll close the lane down, and there'll only be one lane open, and you won't be able to park there at that period of time till the end of the project. The end of the project, we'll talk about in a minute, but you can see out here we got tree removal. We're going to work on the south half of Kensington and Cheshire at the beginning, and the east half of Yorkshire and Highgate. Those will be the roads that will be worked on, and the other half will be closed down. This is, back through. Okay, this is the project phasing for phase 1, and you can see there's signage and things like that out there that direct traffic and tell them which way to go. And it'll be one way from Dalrock going toward Highgate. So you'll be able to come in off Dalrock, since that's the heavier travel roadway. You'll be able to come in that way. If you want to go in your alley to park, that's fine. But if you want to drive down the street for some reason, then that's the way you'll need to go. And then Yorkshire and Highgate will be open on the southbound side at this phase 1. Phase 2, they plan to start that about the 30th of June, which is the north side of the street. They will shift the traffic over on the new pavement, and you'll be on the north side of the street at that point in time. So the things they'll do there is finish up some of the connections, things they haven't done, and then they'll start tearing out the pavement and be working on that. Everything is planned to be finished by January of next year. This is a long project, so it will take some time. And John will be putting out notifications and things for you at different points during the construction. And this just shows signage and that sort of thing, how it's going to be set up, and the fact that on this, the north side will be shut down so they can work on the north side. The next thing that they'll do that you'll all be pleased with, is get some nice new street lights. This is an example of what the street light looks like. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, who's going to talk to you about the trees.
So actually, he's not going to turn it over to me. He's actually going to turn it over to Matt, Councilmember Matt. Great to see you.
Okay.
Sure. Matt is also you're the director of
Texas Street Operations.
Texas Street Operations. There you go.
Oh, great. Well, thank you all for budget came out tonight. My name is Matt Grubisich. I'm one of your city council members, but I'm also work for a nonprofit called the Texas Trees Foundation. And what we do is we work with a lot of cities all across DFW about the importance of trees and green infrastructure and what it does in helping to reduce the urban heat island effect, help energy savings and things like that. And so when I heard during some of our first phases of some of our bond street redos that a lot of people weren't part of the bond project is to get a new tree, but it has to be requested by the homeowner. And so when I heard that not everybody was requesting them, or that we had a low number, I was inquiring as to why. Did they not know about it? Did they not like the trees? Just start to get some of those questions. So wanted to take that opportunity to be able to answer any questions that anybody had about trees and what they might mean to your house, and also talk a little bit about the benefits of them, because it has a lot of benefits, not just to your individual home in terms of as those trees grow. What's there now? A bunch of big ash trees on the street. Is that what's there now? Some ash and some oaks, and you know, ash wasn't the best tree, you know, to be planted back then. The reason that ash trees were planted back then, believe it or not, to give you a little bit of history, if you remember all the elm trees that died of Dutch elm disease back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, they came in and they planted ash trees because ash trees look a lot like elm trees. But it's actually a pretty good thing that those are coming out, because we have a new little insect that's in town now called the emerald ash borer that is wiping out ash trees all across the Midwest, and we actually have it in DFW now. So they'll be good trees to be able to select from. When you put these back in, it looks like there's a mixture of some smaller trees and some larger trees.
Here's a list of the trees.
Here's a list of the trees we can choose from.
Right there.
Okay. So your Hughes necklace, it is a smaller stature tree, along with the golden rain tree. Those are going to be a little bit smaller, where your lacy oak and your Texas red oak are going to be a larger tree. I saw in the picture, is the sidewalk on these particular projects going to be right up against the street, or is there going to be a right of way?
It's going to be against the street.
It's going to be against the street, which is great. That means that the tree will go on the back side of the curb, which is going to be closer to your yard, which means you won't get the sidewalk upheaval that you probably are seeing now in some of your neighborhoods. A lot of times when these were planted beforehand, they have that right of way there, and you planted a tree that's going to get too big in that area, and what do you get? You get that upheaval. So how it's being designed this time with the sidewalk being next to the street and that tree being on the back side, you'll still get all of the benefits of that tree as it grows and it gets taller in terms of its shade and things like that, but you won't get that sidewalk upheaval in the future, which is a really good thing. And you know, with the new street, you're probably used to that nice shade line street that you have now. It's going to look very, very different when all of those trees come out, and so it's important to get that next generation of canopy going. The city actually just completed a tree canopy cover study that's out there, and you know, our tree canopy cover is not quite as high as we want it to be. So it's important that we start to do that, and it has more than just benefits to your individual house. So if you think of flooding issues and things like that, there's going to be a lot more runoff off of that new street because that canopy cover is not there to capture that. Believe it or not, a large tree like that can capture and hold up to 800 gallons of water in a major rain event. So you think about a whole street like that, when now the next rain, how fast all that water is going to hit the sewer system, and how fast that can then start to, that's where we get flash flooding issues. So once you have that, once those trees grow back up, it can't be like what you have now, it slows the rate at which that storm water hits the storm sewer system, and it's actually very, very beneficial to the overall infrastructure for the city. Same way with the urban heat island effect, you're going to notice it's a lot hotter in your front yard next summer. I'm just telling you, because you're not going to have all of that shade there, but as those continue to grow, you'll start to get that back. So those are just some of the benefits. I just wanted to stress and let you know aware that these options are there for you, and please take advantage of it. And if you have any questions about it, I'm here to answer them now, and then also you can always reach out to me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the trees.
And what do you think, having a tree in your yard, how does that benefit your home value?
How does it benefit your home value? Quite a bit, actually, over time. There's lots and lots of research that's out there that shows that two comparable homes side by side, one with a mature tree in the front yard and one without, sells higher, has higher property values, things like that. So over time, it does add value back to your home. But really, the biggest value that they bring back is reduced energy costs. So if you have large trees there now that are shading the front side of your home, you will see a difference in your energy bill next year, believe it or not. And there's lots and lots of data that backs that up. And you'll notice, that'll probably be the first thing that you notice, is the difference in obviously you'll have a very nice new street, which is much needed. And so we're glad we're able to put that in there. But you'll also notice it's a little bit warmer out there as you get that radiant heat off of that new concrete. So getting trees in there is important, getting that next canopy in there is really, really important. So just please take advantage of it and get the tree that you want. And if you have any questions about any of these different varieties, I can answer them. If you have any other questions about how they're going to grow, what they look like, what kind of care and maintenance they need, be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Can you also help us with the placement? Like if you could say, you know, that a tree right there would look really good.
We can definitely, I can come out there if that's something that you're interested in. There's probably some speculation of where that tree can go, I'm guessing, in terms of making sure that it stays close to within that right of way. But in terms of where it is in relationship to your driveway or to your walk or to anything like that, if you have specific questions, I'd be happy to come out and visit with you.
Can you request a tree if you didn't have one there?
Can they? Can they request a tree if they didn't have one there before?
Yes.
Yes. I think the goal would be, I would like to see is that everybody requests one so that, you know, in the future you get this very, very nice tree lined street. But it is that they do ask that you take care of it. The only care that really is going to take with these trees, because of the variety that we have that's here that are pretty good trees, is just that first year of watering. And really, once you get through that first year of watering, and it doesn't take a lot of water. So an average new tree requires, on average, 5 gallons of water per trunk diameter per week. Okay, and that's even in the middle of the summer. That doesn't mean if you have a 2-inch tree that you go out there on Monday and you put 10 gallons of water on it and say you're done. Okay, with our soil, a lot of that's going to run off. So it might mean that you need to come out there and put a gallon on it every night. But if you do that through the first 2 summers, your normal irrigation, or even if you don't have irrigation, normal rainfall will be plenty of water for those trees to do just fine. We actually lose more trees in DFW to overwatering than we do for underwatering. If you think of our really heavy clay soils, the same reason they have to put lime down to make sure you get that stabilization. People tend to overwater. They see that soil holds that water, it turns into a bathtub. You get an anaerobic situation, the tree starts to stress, and what do people think? It needs more water, so they put more water on it, and we actually effectively drown the tree. So watering it correctly is really, really important. So the amount of effort that you're talking about on that is pretty minimal in comparison to the benefits that you get from that tree over its lifetime. Okay, so here's what he just said. They'll be located outside the right way in your yard. So again, I'd be happy if you'd like me to come out and meet with you to help with that placement of that. Definitely do that.
So Matt did a much better job than I would have done. So thank you, Matt.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
These are the contacts, the numbers. Like I said, Lisa will be putting this up there so you'll have those numbers down. And we have dispatch, and then that's John's information on there. So if you have any issues or anything, then you contact John, and he'll be happy to get it taken care of. That's his email too.
This is going live on Facebook, and so it will be available on Facebook starting after it's finished. But Drew Rist will also put it on our RTN YouTube channel tomorrow. So you can, if you need to look at it again, you certainly can do that. The engineering team will also put this on the our city website, the actual PowerPoint, so you have everybody's contact information right there.
Okay, we're going to open it for questions. Before we do, I do have a list of questions that one of your all's neighbors gave us. They're talking about the notice that they got on the door stated that there'd be no street parking from 7 to 7. But and then is that going to be for the entire time? That wasn't exactly what it said. It said that the contractors can be working from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. when the daylight hours allow that. But during the time when they're removing the trees, we talked about that. You'll be able to park at night then when they're not working on the trees. But once they start construction, tear the road out, you will not be able to park on the street any longer for the rest of the project. until it's completed. Do you have availability on both lanes? Then, what the package, we talked about the mail, packages, UPS and FedEx will still deliver up to your front porch.
On Amazon.
Pardon?
And Amazon.
I'm sorry.
Amazon.
Amazon.
If they deliver your front porch now, then they should be able to pull up and deliver your front porch. The sidewalks are being moved to the street curb. That is correct. And the question is, what about the sprinklers? We have a line item in there for sprinkler removal, and they'll relocate those sprinkler heads so that where they're currently water mains won't be where the sidewalk is. The brick mailboxes. The contractor, and you can address that if he wants to, but when they take the mailboxes, they take all the mailboxes down, but they try to preserve them all to put them back. If something happens, they will repair it or put it back or build you a new one if that's what has to happen. They will protect the mailboxes. That's part of it, and they usually take pretty good care of doing that. The water meters will stay where they are. If locations, if you go and look at Woodside, where the sidewalk's against the curb, and you get to the water meter and the mailbox, it has to sit at the curb. The sidewalk goes up and goes around and back, and that's what will happen in those locations. And then, yes, everything will be sodded that the contractor disturbs. So that'll be taken care of as well. Will the water be turned off? When they're reconnecting the meters and that sort of thing, or making a connection, they may have to turn the water off, but it will only go off for a short period of time, and you'll be notified that you will not have water for whatever time they're going to be doing it. But it won't be all day long and that sort of thing. Talk about the ruts on Highgate. Highgate's being repaid. That'll be taken care of.
Right now.
Oh, the city was out there today filling that in. Yeah, they were out there today filling that in. I saw them out there. They were out there about 2:30.
In that one spot. Yeah, does everybody know?
They were there at Highgate where it transitions from the old to the new, and they were out there filling it in.
Well, when I drove here at 5 o'clock, that one area still had.
Are you talking about Highgate or Yorkshire?
Yorkshire's that way, but Highgate, they were working on Highgate.
So we'll spend comment, it is still rough, so we'll address it tomorrow.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, they filled on one side a little bit, but on the other side, it's a rut.
We'll send it back. Thanks for letting me know.
Are they gonna be doing something to Yorkshire?
Right, guys. Yeah. Thank you.
Tommy has a question about Yorkshire.
Are they gonna be doing something about Yorkshire in the near future, because it's got massive potholes in it?
Well, that's going to take care of, you're talking about temporarily?
Yeah, temporarily.
Yes, we will address it. Yes. I thought you were talking long term, right?
No, I know they're gonna
We
do
can do
that.
general maintenance, we will do that throughout the project.
Okay, this is right now, it's
Thank you for letting us know.
And once the contractor gets started, there will be places he's tearing out and stuff, but you'll need access, and he'll have it filled in with flex space and you can drive on. Yes, sir.
What about internet interruption? Are we gonna have it like we had with the first phase?
That's all now, is it not?
There shouldn't be any interruption with the other utilities, with your internet or power or anything, because that's mostly in the alley.
Okay, because we had it big time with the first phase.
Yeah, we did.
There was a lot of alley connections where the wires crossed, and we had to replace the approaches to the alley. So, and there are, I have to say, there are a couple approaches that will be replaced here, but there shouldn't be any internet outages during this phase.
All right, thank you.
More questions? Well, thank you all. Oops. Yes, sir.
The one way on Kensington, Street,
Cheshire?
yeah, they're both gonna be one way the same way?
Correct. from Dalrock, all right, and you can go to Yorkshire and go down if you live on that first section there from Dalrock, or if you're in the second, then you can go down to Highgate and go down, you can go down to Woodside to get out.
The streets don't need any wider.
No, they're the same width. Yes, sir.
You said go out Woodside to Dalrock. Are they gonna readjust that light? Because it still will last a long time.
Yeah.
What, the traffic signal?
Yeah.
Gary will answer that. He's the one that does the studies and things.
We will look at that, yeah, that's a great point, we'll adjust it, since we know it's gonna be backed up further, and make accommodations for that.
So, who do we contact if, in the process of the repair, like if they do damage to the fence while they're, inadvertently?
You just contact me, sir. My card is at the table in the back.
And your name?
John Masad.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm just curious. Why did we choose the location of the sidewalk next to the street versus the way it was? Is there a benefit to that?
I was not working for the city when they designed it that way, but you can. The benefit is you don't have to, if you move it closer to because the street's lowering, and this is the main reason. The street is lowering, so if you lower the street, the sidewalk goes down. And if your sidewalk is further back, then you gotta put in a sidewalk curb or something, because your property, you don't have the ability to slope it like you would.
That makes sense.
So,
Yeah, there'll still be some sidewalk curb
Right.
in, but by pushing it up against the curb, it limits having to go into the private property on grading. So that was one of the things. It was put back and forth and discussed.
Yeah, I've never seen it designed that way, so I was curious as to why we had, choose to design it that way rather than the way it was, but that makes sense what you're saying.
yeah, I live in Rockville, all my sidewalks that way.
They are, so
Yeah.
up next to the street.
So they're
Up
actually
against the back.
terrain and that.
Yes, sir, to try and get better slope for drainage purposes.
Okay.
It was, when it was originally constructed, it was so flat, that's what helped it to deteriorate as quickly as it did.
And that's
We're
what
trying
we're
to-
Woodside, right? That actually.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
How do you know who has sprinklers and who doesn't? I mean, is there a methodology for
Right,
us
so they can-
notifying?
We're gonna put notice in every door. We're gonna put up notice in every door, and this is my phone number, and you're gonna contact me, and I'm gonna go to your house, and we're gonna fit the sprinkler system. And I'm gonna write it down, I'm gonna make a list where every homeowner has a sprinkler system. And then, we're gonna do the street first, we're gonna do the sidewalk, and then the rest of the sprinkler's gonna be redid and that, but we're gonna fix it the way they were.
So while you're doing this, we won't be able to run our sprinklers.
There's two options. I mean, yeah, the zone in the front is gonna be pretty much off. What we can do is something we can cap it, so your water will not be just going nowhere. Or if you can turn on the zone in the front, and the rest of the system you can probably work on.
Yeah, I'm zoned for certain portions, so
Yes.
I can turn off the zone
Yes,
that is right by the street.
Exactly.
That zone I can turn
and
off.
exactly, if you can turn off the zone in the front by the sidewalk of the curb, you can probably still use the rest of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
We always cap those
Yeah.
lines, so if you still run that zone, depending on how the plumbing is, the rest of the heads
Still
may
work.
work depending on how the plumbing goes to each one. But like you're saying, it won't just be shooting water everywhere.
We're gonna cap it, but that way, we have to find out which home has sprinkler system, so I can, get somebody to cap all the front zones of the property.
We verify they work and we replace them to basically how they were before, and of course move to where the new
And
location.
you move the
Yes.
heads to the
Yes.
area that you're stopping.
Yes.
Well, actually, once the sidewalk moves down, then
no, you will not say.
Case by case, and we have someone who does the irrigation for us that will go back and make sure that you have the coverage you need. They find those case by case.
Yeah, because sometimes we have to even add heads in the center, because we're gonna remove the ones in the front. So it depends on
So
the
you
process.
remove the hats or you just save them and move on?
Sometimes we move it, and then try to put new ones. I mean, it's just
Sometimes-
cheaper.
Are older.
Yeah, it's
they don't have the-
better to put it on.
Gary, is it possible when they're out there looking at the irrigation systems for the people that request a tree, that they mark where the irrigation heads are too, so they're not breaking irrigation when they come back and plant the tree, and then they gotta go back and fix it again? Is that a possibility?
What we can do is, I don't have a set of plans for each house, but what we can do is paint it with the spray, with the orange paint, and mark each head where it is. And, I mean,
Prior to planting.
we cannot
Yeah.
figure out what the line goes to the head, but we can paint
I
it.
say it would be pretty easy if you're already out there having to move it back, you'll know where the lines are, so you could mark it, you could cross-reference that with who has trees, so that then you can mark that tree location so they're not taking.
Yes, we can do something,
potentially
paint
taking
it, and figure out where they're at.
Question about sidewalks.
Yes.
So you're gonna replace by the street, and then obviously one little portion that's gonna be gapped. Can we get the rest of it done up to the house at our expense if we need to, if it's in terrible condition?
Yes, you would coordinate with the contractor and work out a cost with him.
I'd love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Question was, can you get your sidewalk replaced further back and pay for it yourself? And the answer is yes. You just need to coordinate with the contractor and get worker price with him to do your sidewalk.
The way we typically handle that in the past is, whatever contractor we use to do sidewalks, we'll have y'all deal directly with them, and we just ask them to give y'all better rates since they're working in the area anyhow. But because of the way the contract is set up and how things are paid, it's very difficult for us to do it, which is why we ask the contractor to deal directly with y'all.
Excellent. Great.
Any more questions? Well, we certainly appreciate you. You have some, oh, okay, George.
The tree.
Come on up here, George.
The tree removal is actually slated to begin on the 23rd, not the 26th. And that's really the only item I have here. We asked if y'all are agreeable to it when we're salvaging the mailboxes, if we can put them somewhere by the side of your home. If we have to pull them all out and store them remotely, they get lost, they get damaged, they get mixed up. We try to avoid that. And again, if y'all are agreeable, if you don't want it on your property, we'll take it away and we'll put it somewhere else. We try and do our best, but that's worked very well in the past.
It's fine with me.
And your council member would like to say something to you about the neighborhood.
So I know you guys are going to be as excited as I am to have this project get started. I've lived on the corner of Pickard and Highgate for 25 years, and so I drive down that every day. So because of that, I wanted to say I'll be happy to be a point person to distribute information to you, to email it to you. mbrown@rowlett.com is my email address, and so if you'll email me your address, then I'll put you on a distribution list for information, and be glad to distribute that to you. I have a personal interest in this, like I said, because I drive down Highgate every single day. Actually, I've been going down the alley behind Highgate, right. And so appreciate Gary and his crew getting out there and getting that filled in for us, because it will take a bit of time for this project to get underway. And in the meantime, we need to be able to use that road, because if you've used that alley like I have, then it can get a little dicey when it's traffic time and a lot of cars coming in and out of there. And it's across the street from the school, and kids, are there too. So anyway, just wanted to say that I'm very excited about this project getting underway. I was so glad for Highgate to be done to the extent that it was in Woodside too, gosh. And I'm really excited to see the other streets get done. It'll take a year, but you know what, I've lived there for 25 years and I can wait another. So that's all I have to say. Just email me at mbrown@rowlett.com and I'll be glad to distribute information. Blake, I guess, has gotten some of my cards and put them back there, so all my contact information is on there as well, my cell number. I answer it, I pretty much keep it on all the time. I have an 18-year-old granddaughter that lives with us, and so I never turn it off. So you're welcome to call me too if you need any information. And that's it.
Awesome. Tom, there was a question on Facebook earlier. Yeah, awesome.
There was a question on Facebook, Lisa sent me earlier, about traffic. Apparently cars speed down the alleys now, and was this going to put more traffic in the alleys? I don't know why it would, because people aren't going to be wanting to come down through there. They'll take Woodside, and if they live there, then they will be coming down the alley anyway. But we really have no control over the alleys, because we can't shut them off. That would be the only way we could control that, would be to block them off.
I've seen the police ticketing cars that are going down the alley with their first phase of construction.
And if it's a big problem, we can let John know, and he'll contact PD. Okay, if there are no more questions, we appreciate everybody attending. Okay, George has one more thing to say.
Sorry, y'all, bear with me. This is now the third project that City of Rowlett and McMahon Contracting have together, and so far it's been a great relationship. I mean, these guys, Tom, Gary, and John, they really are looking after y'all's interest, sometimes to our detriment, but they are looking out for y'all, and y'all are lucky to have these guys working for you.
Awesome.
Thank you all again for coming.